Final question in this episode before we'll hang up comes in from Same Share 7331. I would love it if you could talk about the difficulties of balancing squats and deadlifts within a training program. Those two exercises have so much overlap in terms of muscles worked and muscle exertion, mostly in the glutes and lower back, but also in the quads and knees, that fitting both within a training week can be difficult. I feel it's similar to balancing the bench press with the overhead press, but it's much more common to see people just do bench press than it is for people to completely drop squats or deadlifts. Especially if you follow a program like push-pull legs, should you do deadlifts on the pull day, even if you're doing squats the day after? Or is it better to do both squats and deadlifts on the leg day? Lastly, if you were to do just one of these exercises, how well can you compensate for the other one? If, for example, you train deadlifts hard and then do leg extensions for your quads, how much are you missing out from not doing squats? That was a long question.
That is a long question that one could talk about for a really long time.
Yeah.
And like my main answer is that it is hard to balance these two.
It is.
And if someone has a good solution, please present it to me. And I agree, it's something similar to someone wanting to do both bench presses and overhead presses. They're really cut out of the same training budget.
Yeah.
And I struggle with the same thing in my training right now, where I'm doing a squat specialization program, and my solution, if you'd call it that, was to drop the deadlift for the duration of the programs. But I mean, that sounds really a good solution if you also want to get better at deadlifts. But I tried doing some deadlifts in between, and yeah, it kind of works. But something that would work better, in my opinion, is something that is more like the Romanian deadlifts, or maybe some heavy kettlebell swings, something that omits the knee extensors a bit and focuses a bit more on the low back. Because at least for my squats, they don't tax the low back a ton, but they do tax the knees a ton. So that might be a solution for me. I'm just too lazy to do that at the same time, because I feel like my squat program right now drains all the mental energy I have available for training. And if I feel that if I add more, everything might fall apart. So I'm focusing on squats until I get that 200 kilo in. But yeah, I mean, the issue is that you might be fresh in some or even most of the muscles or joints, but then you have that one body part that is fried. And if someone is doing a ton of deadlifts, that might be the low back, and that might keep you from squatting effectively. So it definitely needs some planning and prioritizing. And in one of our powerlifting programs in the app, Powerlifting Polka, we have 2 squat days and 1 deadlift day per week, where, I mean, everything is dialed down a little bit to make that volume work, but it might still be a bit much. It might still be the case that the deadlift really doesn't get the love it needs to grow, but the squat might do so. So that is one common solution. I know the Seiko programs often use that: 2 squats, 1 deadlift. And if you add a 4th day, then that is going to be a deadlift day. But I mean, the weights are light. The volume might be fairly high, but the sets aren't too taxing. If you would like to go the route where you actually do hard sets and quite many of them, I would probably look at doing a frequency of 1 per week, meaning 1 squat session and 1 deadlift session, wherein both are hard. The problem is that I feel most people need more than 1 squat session per week to keep the technique in the groove, so to say. They lose the technical proficiency if they only squat once per week. And I feel that it's a minority that thrives on that.
Yeah.
So that gives you the challenge of, well, should I add a light squat day? And if so, when? And how little should I do? Because it's really easy to do a bit too much, and then everything comes apart in week 2 or 3. Regarding the question of doing them on the same or different days, I would say that it's generally better to split it up on different days, because that is basically an extended rest time between sets, really.
Yeah, I agree.
The danger here is that you might get carried away and do too much, because if you do them in the same session, you have that tiredness in your body, and it's kind of a natural break on doing too much. But if you train the other day, you might do more than you long term would want to do.
YOLO, man.
Yeah.
We also, I don't want to scare people away from doing both lifts, and we do see really good power lifters improving in both lifts at the same time. It's not unheard of. But I've been there as well, feeling like my deadlifts have suffered because I've trained the squat too hard, or vice versa. And it truly is a balancing act. I always try to separate my deadlifts and my heavy squats as far away as I could. I used to do lighter squats on my deadlift day. Deadlifts first, then a few working sets with lighter weights and fewer reps for the squat, just to keep the groove.
Yeah. I think the key is not doing too much in each session.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to find out yourself how much you can tolerate.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you go slow, if you the body adapts. Maybe in a year you can tolerate much more from both lifts. It's not static.
Yeah, and we have outliers on the other end of the scale. Is she Polish? Agata, I think she's called. I think she's the world champion now in one of the female weight classes. I think she does squat, bench, and deadlift 6 days a week. And has been doing so for a while. So it's all about the dose.
Yeah.
But pertaining to the question about how to complement one, so if you're doing squats, what can you add to get to cover the deadlift muscles and vice versa? So he writes, if you train deadlifts hard and then do leg extensions for your quads, how much are you missing out from not doing squats? I think, you're going to get a lot of it if you do leg extensions and the deadlift, but I think you're going to miss some of that deep adductor work that you need in the squat. So maybe, if you want to keep load away from the spine, maybe you want to do something fun like Bulgarian split squats or lunges where you where you really shift the load towards the knee extensors. It's possible to do those in a way that doesn't tax the lower back as much. I suppose something like front squats could work as well, but a lot of work.
Yeah.
And the opposite, if you're doing squats, then what do you need to add to cover the deadlift? And I think for most people, that is going to be something that is more hip and low back focused. I'm sure that for some powerlifters that use their low back a lot, they don't need as much of complementary work. In that case, they might want to add some more upper back work and maybe some grip work. So I think for someone who is squatting a lot and just want to cover the deadlift muscles, maybe adding some, say, barbell rows, fairly heavy ones, or something like Romanian deadlifts would cover it good.
I also want to mention the trap bar deadlift in both scenarios. Seems to be a bit easier on the lower back for a lot of people. If you do a lot of heavy squats and you want some deadlift work, maybe try, if your gym has a trap bar, do trap bar or hex. What's it called? Hex bar?
Hex bar. Or öppen deadlift bar.
Yeah, from Eleiko.
Yeah.
It seems to be a good deadlift variation that don't tax your back as much.
Yeah.
A lot of people like it.
Yeah, it's a great topic that we're bound to get back to. But not today.